In the last lecture, we saw about confidentiality, and in this lecture, we will discuss what is integrity and why integrity plays an important role in the security triad. So, what is integrity? The assurance that data received are exactly sent by an authorized entity. For example, if Bob is sending some data to Alice, now Alice must know that the data is received from Bob only. She should not doubt whether it has been received from Bob or any other else. So that is integrity. As with confidentiality, integrity can apply to a stream of messages, a single message, or selected fields within a message. Again, the most useful and straightforward approach is total stream protection. A connection-oriented integrity service deals with a stream of messages and assures that messages are received as sent with no duplication, insertion, modification, reordering, or replays. The destruction of data is also covered under this service. Thus, the connection-oriented integrity service addresses both messages and modification and denial of service issues. On the other hand, a connection-less integrity service deals with individual messages without regard to any larger context and generally provides protection against message modification only. So we can make a distinction between service with and without recovery because the integrity service relates to active attacks. We are concerned with detection rather than prevention. If a violation of integrity is detected, then the service may simply report. This violation and some other portion of the software, a human intervention is required to recover from the violation. Alternatively, there are mechanisms also which are available to recover from the loss of integrity of data, as we will review subsequently. So there are three types of integrity: connection integrity with recovery, connection integrity without recovery, and connection less integrity. So connection integrity with recovery basically provides user data on a connection and detects any modification, insertion, depletion without any recovery with every recovery attempted. That is, if there is a loss of information or deletion of replay, the data is recovered back. Exactly the same cases happen with connection integrity. It provides everything with respect to modification, insertion, deletion or replay, but provides only detection without recovery. That is, it detects that something has changed, but it does not provide the original data back. And connectionless integrity basically provides for the integrity of a single connectionless data block and may take the form of detection of data modification. Then additionally, a limited form of replay detection may be provided. The next one is authentication. Authentication is basically the assurance that the communicating entity is one that it claims to be. So if Bob is talking to Alice, Alice must know that only Bob is talking to her, right? I mean, if Bob is claiming that he's Bob, he should also prove it. There are two types of authentication: peer entity authentication and data origin authentication. Peer entity authentication is used in association with a logical connection to provide confidence in the identity of the entities connected, whereas data origin authentication is in a connectionless transfer provides assurance that the source of received data is as clean. Authentication is very important nowadays because due to large developments in technology, and we have been chatting over all the internet every day, we should know that if XYZ person is sending data and he is claiming to be himself, he should rather prove it. So different forms of services like integrity checking, identity checking are used to back up authentication. The next one is access control, which means the prevention of unauthorized use of a resource. Basically, the resources that are available over the internet should be used by the intended persons only for the authorized access. So if you are working in office and the resources that are in the office, which are the files, the folders, they should be accessible only to the office workers. And those files should not be available for any random person on the street. That is basically access control. You control who is accessing that information. which is very crucial in cybersecurity, because if you allow anyone to interact with the data, then that becomes problematic. It can also result that in data breaches. So this service controls who can have access to a resource, under what conditions access can occur, and what those accessing the resource are allowed to do. So it's not about just giving the access to the authorized person, but it also deals with those persons with the access to information carry out which functions is also a major focus. So if you say Bob is in the office and he's allowed to access the information, but what if Bob uses that confidential information to publish on the internet? Well, that is not what Bob should do. It is illegal. So what those resources are being used after having accessing the rights is also important. And the last one of the security elements is the non-repudiation, which is you can deny. Basically, if you have sent a message to your friend, you can deny that you have sent. That is basically non-repudiation. So it provides protection against denial by one of the entities involved in the communication of having participated in all or part of the communication. So basically, if you are in a group and you start chatting and you send a message but later claim it that you do not have sent, your claim is false, fallacious, because there are services which check the non-repudiation of the data, and they can easily tell, or they can easily claim that you have sent the message. So you can't deny once you have sent the message. Non-repudiation problems are pretty crucial to understand, because consider this real life example. If Alice is sitting in her office and her boss receives a message from Alice saying that I want to resign, and her boss comes to Alice and asks what was the reason behind the resignation, but Alice says I didn't send it. So in this case the non-repudiation problems arise. There are again two types of non-repudiations, with origin and with destination. So proof that the message was sent by the specified party, and proof that the message was received by the specified party. Now it is also important that if you send a message to Bob, Bob cannot deny that he hasn't received the message, or he has received the message. So if Alice has sent something to Bob and Bob has received it, Bob has read it, but later he can't deny that he hasn't received the message. These are two types of non-repudiations, and in the next lecture we will see what is incident response team. I hope you are clear now. I hope you are now clear with all the security elements: confidentiality, integrity, availability, authentication, access control, and non-repudiation. You must get used to these concepts, as these are the basis of a security structure. If you are clear with these concepts, learning security is fun and easier. It becomes a lot more easier. So let's see you in the next lecture.